Welcome to another edition of JavaScript for You. This morning I wanted to take a look at looping in JavaScript, and there are three main ways you can loop in JavaScript. The first is the familiar for loop. So we set up a variable, and we're going to do something like this. For I equals the starting point, I less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, however you're stepping up, and then the increment value. So here we're going from 0 up to 5, and each time increasing by 1. Then each time we do it, we do a number is, and put out the value. Then we put out a break so we can see what's going on. So let's double click on this and open up Safari, and we can see all it does is print out from 0 to 5. Not too hard, that's exactly what a for loop is supposed to do. Now there's another kind of loop called a while loop, and this is going to execute while a condition holds. Now it's not guaranteed to ever execute if your condition never holds. So for instance, you come in here and say, well, I is 0. If I set I to 11, this loop would never execute. So while I is less than or equal to 10, put out the value, and then we increment it down here at the bottom. You also want to make sure that within your loop you do something that will make sure that at some point the condition breaks. So here you want to make sure that it goes through, but keep in mind, depending on the conditional, you may never go into this loop at all. In this case, we are going to go through it, so when we go ahead and double click on this, loops 2, we get from 0 to 10. But let's change this and make this start out at 11, and then we'll go ahead and save it. So we'll do a file, and we'll save. And now let's go here to loops 2 again, and you see nothing happened. We didn't go into this at all. And that's because the way this while loop is set up, we have our conditional, but we may never go in. Now if you want to make sure that the loop executes at least once, there's a variation. We set up our variable, and then we do a do while. Notice the test is at the bottom, which means we're guaranteed to go into this at least once. So this is a variation on the last kind of looping. If you want to make sure a loop executes at least once, even if your condition doesn't hold, you do this instead of the other one. So this is going to look very similar though if we double click on this, again from 0 to 10. So that's the three main kinds of loops in JavaScript. You have your for loop, you have your while loop, and then you have your do while. And do while is the thing you want to use if you want to ensure that you go through at least once. So that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with JavaScript.